let's get started. So again, thank you for joining. This is 15 with Fallon. And if you've joined us before, what we do here is we do quick 15-minute training calls that are geared for real estate agents for you to be able to stay on top of your game, learn tips and tricks, know what's going on in the industry without taking a lot of time out of your day. Because I mean, we know that y'all are running around trying to get the sales, trying to show houses. So we want this to be as brief as possible, but also make you look like an absolute rock star. So today we are very lucky to have a special guest, Miss Vaughn Williams from Allegiance Title.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Fallon. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Well, we're happy to have you. So Vaughn is going to go through with us how to explain a title quote. So I know a lot of agents, we know that a title quote is something that we need, and some of the agents request it from the title companies. Lenders also can request it from the title company. But when we send it over to the buyer, sometimes the buyer will ask questions and, it's like, ooh, what is an abstract? What is an endorsement? And we kind of avoid those questions, right? But this today, what we're going to do is we're going to have Vaughn kind of go through those steps, what to expect, what are they for, what is title insurance, and she's going to give us the rundown. That way you can feel confident when someone does approach you with a question about what's this fee and why, you'll be able to explain it a little bit better. So Vaughn, I'm going to pull up the title quote. Vaughn has made an example title quote for us so that we can kind of follow along and see what it looks like. Most title quotes will look very similar. So let's see, I'm going to pull this up here. Bear with me while I try to share.
While you're pulling that up, don't ever just get discouraged. You're always welcome to call me or call anyone at the office if you do have questions about the quote, and we're happy to go through it. Or have your buyer call us or your seller, and we're happy to go line by line. We can send them more information. We have lots of pamphlets on title insurance. So definitely don't feel like you can't call. You're, of course, welcome to at any time. But we just wanted to kind of make you more aware of, since you're seeing it so often on quotes and the CDs and settlement statements, so you have a better idea of what each line item is.
Absolutely. So if you can see on your screen here, Vaughn, I don't know if you can confirm that you're seeing the title quote here.
I can see it.
Awesome.
Um, Perfect. Yeah. So on the quote, we usually just fill out the borrower's name. So if we're asking for their name, that's just kind of how we keep track of everything. The most important things we need are the address, the purchase price, and the loan amount. Because title insurance is based off of sales prices, and the loan policy is based off the loan amount. So I'll go through. This is a quote quoting a purchase with a loan. So a cash sale is going to look a little bit different. It's not going to have as many line items, but of course, this is the most common. You'll see on the left side the different line items of each item we have to charge, and then on the right we will quote a standard and an enhanced policy. I know sometimes when you receive quotes, I've seen different examples, and sometimes the standard is the only one quoted or the enhanced is the only one quoted. We like to quote both just so the borrowers can see the difference between the two and make a decision on which one they would like to purchase. That first one, the abstract title exam. How we start each file is an abstract is basically like a long book of the property. So we have an in-house abstractor here, and she will go back 30 years in the courthouse records, and she'll pull everything associated with that property. So anything that was recorded that has to do with that property, she's also going to run the buyer's names and the seller's names. So when we ask your buyer for their full legal name, and if it's a spouse, we need their maiden name. And if they've been married before, we need that name as well, because we're going to run each person's name and make sure there's no liens or judgments against them. But anything that has to do with that person's name or the property, we put into a nice little book. And we take that book and it goes over to our attorney, and then he does what's called a title exam, and he combs through every page and he makes sure that the property is clean. It has nothing against it. It's good to go for the sale. If there is a lien or judgment or anything on it, Most of the time, we can clear that up before the closing. That's why we need buyers' social security numbers and the seller's social security numbers, because sometimes with common names like John Smith, it won't be the same John Smith that's buying, but we just have to double check that that's not that person that has that lien against him. Also, with judgments, a lot of times it's something easy that we can clear up and we can take out of the proceeds of the sale and have it cleared up so it doesn't stop the sale from happening. So there's different scenarios, but basically during the abstract and title exam, that is what we're doing. We're just making sure everything is clear. The notary and doc prep is the fee that we charge for our notary to draw up all the paperwork. And y'all have been in closings before, there's lots of paperwork that gets prepared. So that's just our charge to do that, and for our notary to actually perform the closing. An insured closing letter is basically a letter from the underwriter ensuring the borrower that we're following their instructions. So it's a $25 charge, and it's issued by our underwriter, and that ensures that the underwriter is protecting the clients from any mistakes that might be made by the title company. Recording services, that is what we charge for anything from stamps to FedEx fees to courthouse copy fees. So we lump it all into one charge that we call recording services. So this is the fun one: owners and lenders title insurance. Title insurance protects the buyer from losses that occur from various matters affecting title to the land. There are two basic policies, as I said, the standard and the enhanced. And I could go into this. I know we only have 15 minutes, but I could do a whole hour class on this. So I'm going to make it pretty short and sweet for y'all, and give you the three main differences between the standard and the enhanced policy. The standard policy is the value of the purchase price. So on this example quote, the home price is $395,000. So if you get the standard policy, it's going to be for $395,000. The enhanced policy is going to go up 10% each year for the first 5 years. So it will increase your coverage. The second big difference I find in the owners in the standard versus enhanced policies, the survey exception. A standard policy does not cover boundaries unless you have a recent survey that's 6 months or less. So if you want the standard policy and you want boundaries covered, you would have to purchase a new survey, which it's easier just to go ahead and spend a little bit extra and get the enhanced policy. The third thing is it covers any post-policy issues. The standard policy only covers title problems that are there at the time of the closing. The enhanced policy covers about 10 to 12 things that can arise after closing. And I can email y'all out after a breakdown of those, because there's a whole list that y'all can go through and read about that. And the lender's policy, a lender's policy only protects the lender. So if you have a client and they're like, do I need the owner's policy? On my settlement statement, it says it's optional. That's horrible advice, because if they're like, oh, I can get the lender's policy, the lender's is only going to protect the lender, and that's if there's a foreclosure. So if there's no foreclosure, and the owner wants coverage, don't let them get false hope that they think because they have lender's coverage. They don't. So we highly recommend them getting the owner's policy too, so they're protected. If they do get both policies, the owners and the lenders, there's something called a simultaneous issue rate. So if they purchase the owners, the lender's policy is only an additional $100. So they get a lot of savings if they purchase both as well. Next line item, the recording. I did this based off of St. Tammany Parish. To record a cash sale in St. Tammany Parish, it's $110. And to record a mortgage, it is $210. And each time the page goes over $15, it increases the charge. It's pretty standard across the parishes too. I think Orleans is a little bit more. Tangipahoa might be about the same as us or a little less, but it's pretty average from parish to parish. Okay, and then the last line item, title endorsements. There can be many title endorsements that lenders will require that are added on, but basically the title endorsement is a rider to your insurance policy that lenders will require added on to have additional coverage. So the most common that we see is this 8.1. It's on pretty much every closing. The 8.1 is a environmental protection rider endorsement, and that's just making sure that there are no liens recorded for the cleanup of hazardous waste. Another one that is really common is the 5.6, and that's a planned unit development. And that one is usually added for any subdivisions with a mandatory HOA. Another really common one that we see on most of them is the 9.1, and that one is restrictions, encroachments, and minerals on unimproved properties. So those are basically the ones we see. I think a 4 is added for most condos and apartments, and yeah, so that's the most common endorsements for that. And I think line by line, I went through each one, and it should match up with the closing disclosure. Like I said, don't let on the closing disclosure, it's the owner's policy will say optional in parentheses. Don't let your buyer just get discouraged, like, oh, I can save the money on that and not get that. And I think it's on under H online on other.
Down here. So yes,
Yes.
when
So
you
they kind of trick us with this and put it down at the bottom under the home warranty and the commission and make it look like it's not needed.
yes, but it is, as she said, that, I get that question a lot too. If the owner's title policy is optional, do I really need it? I'm sure Vaughn has many stories where someone used their owner's policy and it was well worth, the one-time fee that it is, because, you just wanna be protected, right, Vaughn?
Yeah, I'll give you a quick example of one. This was actually my husband's aunt, lives in Metairie, and she went to do some home renovations and wanted to renovate part of the carport and garage in her yard. And when she went to do the work, she realized the people behind hers, their garage was encroaching a few feet on her property. And so it prevented her from expanding the project she wanted to do. So she was able to file a claim with her on her owner's title insurance, and they covered the price of getting her neighbor's garage back on their side of the property. So it's little things like that that you don't think of at the time of closing, but it really happens more often than you would think. And there was a time in St. Tammany Parish that we were the number one parish in the state for title claims, and West St. Tammany had more than East St. Tammany. And I think it was because a lot of deals that happened, 100 years ago were handshake deals. They weren't recorded properly. It was recorded, you know, 10 feet past the old rusty pole, take a right to the oak tree that might not be there anymore. So now that we have more surveys coming out, it's clearing up. But for a while, there were a lot of title problems in this parish with boundaries. So I definitely recommend you explain to your client the importance of the owner's policy.
100%. And yeah, we wanted to show the closing disclosure because this is another thing that some agents get a little bit intimidated by because there's so many different fees on here. And you may get the question from your buyers, what is this? What am I paying for? Vaughn highlighted everything that has to do with title. So you can see that that's grouped in basically together under services that you did shop for. This one actually will, as you can see, the buyer's title fees are the only ones that are highlighted, but there are seller fees as well for title, but that is completely separate from what we'll get into on this call. Your recording fees under other costs, and then as we discussed down here under other is where that optional title policy lies. So just make sure that's on there, which again, anybody who deals with us, they'll know the importance of it. But getting back to also all the fees and understanding this, I think that that clears up a lot. It is so important to make sure that you're working with a title company that really is able to clearly find clear chain of title, because you don't want to be dealing with those issues later. And real quick, I know we're hitting that 15-minute mark, but this has also come up a lot lately. with rates where they're at, and hey guys, everything is coming down, so that is absolutely fantastic news. Let's hope that we stay on that trend of it slowly coming down. But what we keep saying is make sure you do not miss out on a house, even though rates aren't where we want them to be right now. The value of the house is going to be there. When rates drop, that same house is going to be on the market for more. So get in now. So I don't know, Vaughn, if you could just touch very quickly, you can refinance to that lower rate. What does that mean title wise? Are we paying all of the same title fees when we refinance, or is there some kind of discount involved?
That's a great question, Fallon. If buyers purchase now and they choose, down the road to refinance, they will get a simultaneous issue rate on that policy, on the lender's policy for when they do choose to refinance. So it is a little discount on the title insurance side. So they're not buying a whole new policy again. And they've already purchased their owner's policy, and the owner's policy is a one-time fee, one-time purchase. So they won't have to do that again. They'll just be repurchasing that lender's policy, and they will get a little credit on the back end for that. And then, of course, if they come back to Allegiance for their second closing, we'd love to help them out. Being a repeat customer, we're not gonna up our fees a second time for them. We'd love to have repeat people back here.
See, this is what I'm talking about. It's not worth waiting right now for the rates to come down. When you can get in, you can start gaining that appreciation, have that equity start building up. You can refinance later, and a refinance really is pennies compared to what you're going to end up paying on the next house and the fees on the next house. So if you ever want to see a side by side of what this looks like, please let me know. I will run the numbers for your buyer so they can see what the cost of waiting is. So, but thank you so much, Vaughn. I really, really appreciate you clearing all that up for us. We are gonna get some of the documents that she put together out to you so you can refer back to it. I'm also gonna make sure that you have her information, my information, in case you do have any questions about how to explain this, or anything about anything title related at all. But before we leave, Vaughn, if you want to tell us a little bit about your upcoming CE.
Yes. So we were planning a CE for the mandatory January 30th. We actually launched these registration Tuesday morning, and it's already filled up. So we're really excited about that. So if you haven't already signed up, I do apologize, but just shoot me a text or email. We're starting a waiting list because we're still about 12 days out. So if there's any cancellations, we're writing some names down to add people to it if there are cancellations. And we hope to have another one hopefully coming up soon after that. And like I said, if y'all ever have any questions, please give me a call. Don't hesitate to tell your buyer to call. If they want to shop quotes, if they're out looking at properties and want to get an idea of what closing costs are, they're more than welcome to get a quote ahead of time. If you don't have our Palm Agent app, please go download it in the App Store. It's Palm Agent One. Look for Allegiance Title. You can actually do title quotes straight from the app. And there's some other fun calculators on there for y'all to use that will really help when you're out showing your buyers properties. And it also, for your listings, you can do seller net sheets straight from the app and email it over to your client in a nice little format. So definitely check out the Palm Agent One app, and it's
I will
free.
say it is a fantastic
Mhm.
app, and I'm glad that you brought that up, Vaughn. I think that we should do another call just covering that app because it has so much value.
Absolutely.
It makes the agent look like an absolute rock star because everything is so professionally put together. If you haven't seen it, you have to see it. So let's get that on the books. We'll do another call just based
Perfect.
strictly on that.
And including in the title insurance little pamphlets I'll send out the QR code for you to download the link app, or the app link as well, so you can check that and just go play around with it for a while. It's really fun to use, even just to put in like fake numbers till you get the hang of using it. But it's really cool to use, and I think y'all are going to enjoy it if you don't already have it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Vaughn. Thank you all for joining
Yeah,
me.
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And we will see y'all on the next call. I hope y'all have a great rest of your week, and let's get to the closing table. All right.
Yeah.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.